beat y'all. Can't beat y'all.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? We are now live. I need you to join this podcast episode because it's going to be a good one. So I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to get in before I start my introductions. What's going on, bro? How are you? Make sure you share. This should be a good conversation tonight. I am just checking to see how this looks. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I sure hope so. I definitely hope so. I know I was very proud of him. So I do my best to make him proud. What's going on? Make sure that you let me know you're here. So drop something in the chat so I know you're here. And happy Thursday to everybody. You know, free Friday, if you will. And while we waiting, what's your thoughts on, we've seen a lot of celebrations this month with the 50th anniversary of hip hop. So what's your thoughts? How y'all feeling? Have you seen something that you, definitely kind of ignited your love for hip hop again, or something you wish you would have saw, wish you will still see, because we, still got the year to keep the celebrations going. Thankfully, it is. It is alive and breathing. And thankfully, still a lot of the artists that we love are as well. And so that's what, we're here to do. Try to keep as many as we can here alive and breathing and, doing well. The 4 elements are jumping. Yeah, it's been, I think the thing I loved the most was actually seeing them bring in more of the elements of hip hop that we kind of were missing over the years. All right. But without further ado, let me go ahead and get this thing started, and as you come in, let me know you're here. But, again, what's going on? I want to welcome you all back to another episode of Beats Per Minute podcast, where hip hop, health, and matters of the heart are all in sync. Again, I am your host, Miss Thurzday, and I want to thank you for joining us tonight. You can catch us here every Thursday at 7 p.m. EST, and also on Spotify and Apple Music on Saturday. But I don't want to keep you guys too long. I want to go ahead and get this thing started because my guest is in the building. And even though he don't really need an introduction, I'm gonna try to do my best to still do something. Okay. So a lot of times we talk about the word legend, and it's been used a lot, especially lately as we've been talking about the 50th year of hip hop, talking about different celebrations, as we see more and more podcasts geared towards the hip hop community have been, kind of springing up. But I think that for me, the word legend is a little more than just, somebody that, had hit records or, you know, um, was like big during a certain era. I think that the word legend means that you really paved your own way, that you just dance to the beat of your own drum, if you will, and not really care, who else wanted to dance with you, that you was willing to, say what was needed to be said and do what's needed to be done. And I think, also represent the area that you come from. And so right now, without further ado, I want to welcome my guest, tonight. I want to, just appreciate him for joining me tonight. So, this guy, he generally speaks his mind, says, a lot of stuff that I think a lot of people wish they could say. And, so without further ado, welcome to the show, Willie D.
Thank you. My honor. My honor. I'm so glad to be contributing to your platform.
I appreciate you. I have seen you over the years, but this is the first time that you have probably seen me.
Right.
So, one, I want to get this started with one, thanking you because, Collins, as y'all call DJ Ready Red, he kept us very far apart from, his life in the industry and everything that went on or whatever. I was blessed to see him do his thing a few times when I was younger. He would send the records home and say not to open them, and we did not. So I literally have just listened to a lot of the Geto Boys music, so I had no idea half of the stuff that y'all did. But August 24th, 2018, you introduced me to DJ Ready Red when you did that video. I had no idea what was coming when you asked if you could do it. And as a little sister, I was a little overwhelmed, but I'm very appreciative because it gave me the ability to see something I had never got a chance to see before. So I want to thank you for that.
That was your first time seeing Red in action?
Pretty much, yeah. Wow. Pretty much, and I think also, I guess to be more specific, he was a real popular guy, no matter what he did, right? So, we just had learned to stay off his Facebook comments. He would say good morning, and God forbid you say good morning too, and then it's going to be a million comments on there. So I never paid attention to who was in the comments or his friends list and stuff like that, So it wasn't until then that I got to see that side of his life because he had kept it so separate, my cousin Brian, I would tell him like, yeah, y'all got to talk to, they got to talk to y'all over the years. But the first time I talked to you was that Friday, unfortunately. So that part of his life was so far removed from mine that, it was just, something that was never attainable or seen by me,
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to start this thing off. I usually like to ask my guests, just to get things started, like what was that song or thing about hip hop that made them fall in love with it or want to be a part of it? So I want to ask you, like, what was it about hip hop or the music at the time that, you got bit that made you want to, do your thing? Felt like, yeah, I got to be a part of this.
It was cool. It was hip. It was happening. It was the pulse of the community, like my childhood side of the community. It was like that's what was happening. The beats was banging. The music come out the speakers. I mean, if you had some people don't understand, just hip hop was so pure in the early stages that if you just had some dope speakers, and that music came out those speakers, right? Man, you was a celebrity.
You was a superstar, yeah.
You was a celebrity in your own right, just playing the music.
Yeah.
If you sold the music, you was like a local celebrity. You know, it was so pure, you know, and the people that got into it because they was passionate about it. Some people wanted to turn it into a career, but you could tell even those people that was turning it into a career, they loved the music first. It was the music first. It was the passion. And really, that's what really built hip hop. I think if it would have been about money out the gate, it wouldn't have survived.
No, I don't think so.
Because there wasn't a lot of money in the beginning. You know, and for me, growing up in Houston, it wasn't even something that most people thought was tangible. We thought most people thought ah, man, what are y'all doing with that music? That ain't gonna happen. I remember my own sister, love her to death, my big sister, love her to death, but she told me, well, she didn't tell me, she told my aunt. And my aunt told me, she said, I need to get a job because that rap shit ain't gonna work.
Well, I can you that was the general feel.
Yeah. So it was all, you know, it was all bad until I bought her that SUV with that rap money, you know,
she said,
and
doing
then became a believer. But even before that, like when I started getting advances, every time I would get an advance, I would give my sisters and brothers an advance. I got 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay.
So every time I would get paid, I would kick them down. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So going back to that time, like when hip hop is still new and it's pretty pure, and especially like in Houston, like what did it even feel like once you guys actually even heard like Car Freaks or K Reno doing this thing? Like what was like, okay, now this isn't just New York. This is like somebody in my town that's doing this. Like what was that like?
Yeah. Well, it was like it let you know that it was reachable. It let you know that it was reachable, that it was closer to a reality. But even though Rap-A-Lot was doing this thing already before I got on, and they had put out the Car Freak, Geto Boys had put out the Car Freak song and everything, I still wasn't looking at Rap-A-Lot like a formidable like label or something. I was thinking, man, I'm finna sign with Def Jam or something, you know. I'm finna get me a deal with Universal or something like that, you know, because I was opening up for a lot of those guys when they came to town. Like I would open up for like EPMD and Dana Dane and Slick Rick, all them dudes. I opened up for them. So I was really close. I was getting really close. I was just a step out of like making that move to actually go to New York. But once I actually met Jay, me and Jay Prince, we got the same, well, we had the same barber. And we're from the same neighborhood. But the way Fifth Ward is set up, you claim the area of Fifth Ward by the park that you're closest to.
Okay.
So I grew up around Finnegan Park and Sweeney Park. Jay grew up around Tuffley Park. So we really didn't go on his side a lot. Fifth Ward is like a little city. It's big. It's a lot of people that live in Fifth Ward. So you can live in Fifth Ward all your life and not know somebody. It's a neighborhood, but you can live there all your life and not ever have met somebody. Even if you might hear about them, you still may never meet them. So I knew of Jay, and I knew he had Rap-A-Lot, and he was doing Rap-A-Lot, but I wasn't pursuing Rap-A-Lot. I wasn't trying to get a deal with Rap-A-Lot. My barber is the one who encouraged me to give Jay a call. He kept on, so every time he cut my hair, he'd be like, man, you need to get with Jay. Because he had a what they call a tracheotomy, right? So his voice was kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you need to get with Jay, and y'all need to make a record, man, and go platinum, and then make a movie and put me in it. Yeah, he was on that type of speed, and for a minute, I just kept on like ignoring him because I'm like, man, Jay know who I am, you know. I'm Willie D. I'm out here, man. I'm killing it around here, you know. They know who I am. If you want to do some business, come to me. I ain't got two nickels to rub together, but I was arrogant, like, man, I know I got something. So I felt like he knew me. I come to me, you know, like. So finally, I gave Harvey the barber my number to give to him. He kept saying, he said, man, won't you let me get your number and give it to me? So finally he gave Jay my number. Okay. And about a couple of weeks later, Jay called me and asked me to come by the label, come stop by the record label, come stop by the company. And I went over there, did an audition with my DJ, you know, had a DJ and everything, and he liked what he heard, and you know, it just got to popping from then on. And that's when I did a solo album first, the Controversy album. Then he asked me to write some songs for Geto Boys. And I wrote Let a Hoe Be a Hoe and Do It Like a Geo. And those are the first songs I wrote for Geto Boys. And then he liked what he heard, everybody else was digging it. And he asked me to join the group, but I said, I don't want to be in no group, man. You know, it's too much trouble. Groups are too much trouble. I don't want to be in a group. But, you know, Jay was persistent. He was like, man, you know, like I really got this vision, man, like putting you in the group. And I got this dude named DJ Action on the South Side, who everybody know now as Scarface. I got this dude, man, I want to put y'all together and, you know, let y'all be the new Geto Boys along with Ready Red. So it was going to be me, Ready Red, Brad, and Jukebox. But Jukebox quit the group like the next day. He quit the group. He had some personal issues. He quit. So now it's down to me, Brad, and Red. Red, the DJ, is going to be 2 MCs. But I'm sitting in the studio working on some rhymes. Red and Beto is making some beats. Brad in another room doing whatever. And Bill is sitting off to the side drinking a 40 ounce. He's sitting on the floor drinking a 40 ounce. And he rapping in between, yet the rhythm, the rebel, without a pause, I'm lowering my level. He rapping Chuck D stuff. And I'm like, yo, man, let's put Bill in the group. So everybody started laughing. And I said, yeah, see, that's what the world gonna do until they hear this gangster shit I write for them. So I took Bill to downstairs. We sat at the table in the kitchen. I asked him some questions about himself. And I embellished it with what I thought it might be like to walk in his shoes. And I came up with Size Ain't Shit. 3 days later, Bill recorded it. And that's how Bill became an official Geto Boy. Because he was already, and that's how he became a rapper. Because he was already on the cover, but he wasn't in the group. He was just on the cover for aesthetics. And he would come out with the group and open up for the group. Like he would warm the crowd up, come out and dance, you know, get everybody all excited, and then leave. And then the other dudes would just do what they had to do after that. So Bill wasn't a rapper. He wasn't in the group. He didn't even have a contract. So when I suggested that he be in the group, He rapped that part. He did good. So after he did that, I wrote some more stuff for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that. And it was like, okay, we got to get him a contract. Because now, so the carriage came before the horse with Bill's career as a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So that's how he became, that's how he got in the group. That's how he became an official member of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody tell you anything different is a bold-faced lie. That's the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Gotcha.
That's how it happened.
I mean, from the beginning till even now, you know, you guys' history is so different from so many other groups. You know, most groups, you know, they were like grew up together or were friends. They started the group themselves and then kind of went to the record label. And it seems like, you know, the Geto Boys has been one of those groups where, you know, somebody leaves, something happens, somebody else comes in, whatever, you know, and then I think what has been like 9 different members altogether over the years. But, you know, either way, I think that the sad thing is because, you know, there has been, you know, all these different members and at different times, people don't really realize like the rich history y'all have and also how important y'all are to the idea of Southern hip hop. Because before you guys, you know, were doing y'all thing, there wasn't really anybody out there. And so, you know, I recently was just saying, like, you know, back in 1996 when Andre 3000 was on the Source Awards and was like, the South got something to say. Well, the South had been talking for 10 years or so prior, but, you know, it's, I think sometimes forgotten, you know, how important the Geto Boys, you know, has been to the history of Southern hip hop.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, that can be attributed to where the writers are, the gatekeepers are. A lot of the gatekeepers are on the East Coast, primarily in New York, you know, and so obviously that's going to be some bias. Just like if I do believe that if it had started here, you know, that would be some bias. You know, that the people that was writing it, if the gatekeepers were here, the gatekeeper was located in the South, then the deck gonna be stacked against New York and the West Coast. You know, that's just what it is. So I understand that, but I'm still gonna talk my shit. You know what I'm saying?
You know, you've been doing that from the beginning.
I'm still gonna call it out. You know, I'm still gonna call it out. I'm gonna say what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you guys really made it known, even in like do it like a Geo. The idea of like, okay, yes, then, you know, New York is known for this. Like, this is where it started, but you know, we still, you know, are doing our thing here. And, you know, and I think that as I've gotten older and now over the last 5 years of getting to know, you know, a lot of, you know, Collins's friends and different people that was, you know, out South during the time that y'all were really doing y'all thing, you know, I'm starting to understand, even though like I wasn't seeing y'all videos and everything on the, you know, up north or hearing the music being played, but y'all had a really big following in a lot of areas that by the time y'all did hit New York, like y'all were really big in other areas already, you know, and understanding how important y'all were, not just to Houston, but to places like Louisiana and to Chicago and Detroit and all that, because y'all were representing something different than what up north was representing, or the, you know, the West Coast was representing. And it allowed so many other people to say, okay, well, if they could do it in Houston, then we could do it here too, you know, and without the support maybe from the record labels up north, you know, and it really opened the doors for so many people.
Yeah. And that's what we wanted to do. we always wanted to be a voice for the voiceless.
Mhm.
You know, we always wanted to give people hope. That's why we called ourselves Geto Boys. And so we wanted to make sure that we never lost sight of that. Like, what's the mission? Mission is to make sure that we give information and instructions to help people navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world.
Mhm.
That's the mission. So that's why we could talk about all of these different things that people go through, and it be relatable, whether it's talking about, you know, selling dope, or, you know, being a victim of a homicide, being, you know, being someone who, you know, don't have enough, you know, that's insufficient living, insufficient giving, insufficient clothing, shelter, love, food, so on and so on and so on, just insufficient living, you know. And we always kept sight that there were ghetto boys all over the world. That's what a song World is a Ghetto. That's how that was inspired. You know, it's ghetto boys and girls all over the world. The world is a ghetto. It really is a ghetto. A lot of times when people think of certain places, even Hawaii, they just think all of the beautiful stuff, but Hawaii got a ghetto.
Right.
You know, people think of New York, the bright lights, and man, there's people in New York that ain't got a penny. You know, they out on the streets, living on the streets. It's people think of the most beautiful country you can think of, and they got homelessness. You know, everywhere you got a ghetto. So when people, I don't know how they figure like black folks somehow got the ghetto on lock, like we somehow are the face of the ghetto, when you can't go to no major city in the world and not find a ghetto. You can't go to no like cities that are not major and not find a ghetto.
Right.
It was everywhere.
Right. And they may look different, but they're still a ghetto. You know,
Ghettos,
projects don't look like the projects down south, but it's still the projects. You know?
They got trailer parks like right in like mixed use areas, meaning like, okay, you might see a chemical plant right next to an apartment complex, you know, and then right up the street you got a Walmart. Then right over here, you know, you got a Sam's Club or whatever. But down that street that nobody drive down, nobody travels down that street. But at the end of that street, off to the back, it's a trailer park community. And trailer park communities are peppered all through American society, all through the fabric of America. It's the fabric of America. It's trailer parks everywhere. But a lot of us blacks, unless you go in to visit somebody, unless you live over there, or unless you work there, work across there, work with them, you don't know. So America, most white folks live in trailer parks. Well, let me back up. Most people who live in trailer parks are white, right? So white society has done a very good job of hiding the worst of their worst and putting ours on Front Street, right? So when you think about the ghettos, when you think about where black people live, what they call the ghetto, where most black people might live, we live in close proximity of downtown. In every major city, we live in close proximity of downtown. Why is that? That is because when these cities was townships, this is where the first people that settled came to. They came to the Fifth Ward, Harlem, Bronx, whatever neighborhood, white people were there first. And then what happened is that you got white flight as black people moved in, white people moved out, and they moved further out into the suburbs. So that's why for so many years in America, all over America, you had the majority of, that was a large concentration of black people that lived in close proximity of downtown. You could damn near just, walk to downtown if you were black. You know, you could just walk downtown. But now you have gentrification, so white folks are moving back in. But that's how you explain like how is it that you having gentrification in the first place? How did this even happen in the first place? It is because the first settlers in these townships, you know, were white, and white people moved out to try to get away, and build something for themselves, and black people came in. The problem with the ghetto, though, that I find with the ghetto, and here go the thing about it. I love who I am. I'm proud of who I am, who I become. I'm proud of the people that helped raise me, but I ain't proud of being from the ghetto. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I ain't proud of that. I don't think the ghetto is not conducive to healthy living. It's not conducive to a healthy mindset.
Right.
That's about what happens in the ghettos. You got sirens blaring all the time. You got fights. You got shootouts. You got the police coming through disrespecting people all day, every day. You got potholes, abandoned homes, and stuff like that. Walking to the store could be an adventure. Who would want to raise children in that type of environment?
Right.
What we'll do oftentimes is that we'll move to the ghetto because most people, when they end up in the ghetto, they either born in the ghetto or they had no choice. They moved there because they can't afford anything else. But the moment that they can do better, they get out. What a lot of us do is like, once we can do better, once we get there, we just kick our feet up and be like, okay, this is it. It's what's happening right here. We kick our feet up. When the idea should be to get the hell out of there as fast as you can, and then reach back and grab as many people as you can and help them up. But what a lot of us do is once we get it, we turn our backs on those who have been left behind. And we think it's cool because there are people out there telling us that we don't have an obligation to help nobody else. It's your money, you can do what you want. Obviously, that's obvious. But in other communities, these people, they may not go back to the community, but they send that money back to the people that are in the community, the activists, the foot soldiers, to help plant seeds in the community, to help build up and to help other people who are trying to come up out of those situations.
Right.
You know, they help each other. They help. They send that money back to help because they know they're going to need those soldiers. You see what I'm saying? They know that strengthens the bloodline. A lot of us, when we get it, we like, man, I ain't never looking back. I ain't got to look back. And then some of us got the nerve. Some of us got the nerve to actually look down on people from the hood. Why we look down like I don't want nothing to do with them. I'm scared. And then, you know, nowhere else, you know, do that I know of, and I be around all kinds of people. I don't just be around. Some black people make statements like, well, white folks this, or, well, you know, Hispanic people, they don't even be around white folks. They don't even be around Hispanic people. I do.
Yeah, they just going off of what they heard.
I be around all kinds of people. And I can tell you, you know, it's a difference in the way that they reach back when they make it. It's a difference. And a lot of us, we don't have that producer type mentality. We have a consumer mentality. Like, I got money, I'm set for life, but it gives me great pride in knowing that I'm hiring people and that I can help other people grow and also become millionaires. You know, that I like that. You know, that give me that's a purpose behind that. You know, it do something to my spirit.
Yeah, I think it's bad. Sometimes we got a catch-22, I guess, if you will. you have the people like you that want to reach back, they want to help, they want to give jobs, they want to do, and then they get, stabbed in the back, or, they got people coming in and they think they don't have to do anything just because, you do have the same color of skin as me, and I think that sometimes it's so unfortunate because it's like it's like our community just is in this weird space where we just keep having debates and talks about, what's wrong, how we could fix it, and all this stuff. But I just wonder, how can we really fix it? Like, how can we all get to a place where we are not having that, crabs in the barrel mentality, us for no more type of mentality, and also be able to protect ourselves and make sure that, because everybody ain't for us, I mean, I think just as well as I know, all skin folk and kinfolk, you know what I mean? So I know that we have to get to a place where we figure this thing out, because I think that, I know that you were talking about, the things going on in Houston. I have lived in Florida for the last 7 years, and how that's been.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that, it's not going to change. We're going to just see it more and more. And I think that we as Black people, we don't have the luxury of sitting here arguing about what somebody said or did on reality TV anymore. We got to figure this thing out.
So you know what I say to people who are jaded by getting stabbed in the back to the degree that they give up on their own people and say, I'm just going to go for self? Suck it up, buttercup. Suck it up, buttercup. You ain't the only one. Hell, Malcolm died. You got Martin died. You ain't did nothing. You ain't did nowhere close. You ain't went to the hospital for your stress. Just suck it up. That's just what it is. But we got to give each other the same grace we give others. You see?
Yeah.
Because when you go to a Black restaurant and the service is bad, first thing you want to say, see, that why I don't deal with nigga. That why I don't mess with nigga. That white man, look at that. They got an attitude.
That's so true.
You'll go to a white restaurant and you won't say that's why I don't deal with white folks. You'll just say they racist over there. Racist. She don't like me because I'm racist. But you'll still go back because you'll figure like, well, she was racist, but maybe the other one won't be racist. See, we got a bunch of grace for them. But when it comes to us, we ain't got no grace. Our tolerance level is so low to the floor, we can't go no more. See? And so I say, suck it up, buttercup. Yeah, that's what it is. That's just what it is. And we have to also understand that, because like these other races, you think they don't get burned by their people too?
Right.
They just ain't gonna never turn against their people. They get burned all the time. I watch American Greed. I be seeing them white boys be ripping off their family members, their whole communities, the church. They don't give a damn. They be running through everybody's pockets for millions, sometimes billions of dollars. And you still see white people. You don't see white people online and we don't mess with crackers. And we don't be messing with them crackers. They still do business with each other. They just try to not make the same mistake over.
Right.
They just try to be more discerning. They try to vet the people that they do business with as best they can. They don't never stop doing business with each other, and they don't never talk down to the extent that they say, where they try to bring out the worst, where they remind others of the worst in their culture or in their race. We have a lot of dumb bastards in our community, men and women, dumb bastards who think they're smart. They love getting online. A lot of them online too. A lot of them on YouTube. They jump on YouTube. They jump all in the comments on Instagram, whatever, and they talk like they smart. They really think they smart when they talk down about all of the bad things about black people. They love highlighting it. Ooh, as soon as they see something bad about black people, they go, ah, they ready. They ready to attack. They go in. They don't even understand that when they make these type of posts and videos, that not only do they make it harder on the people who they perceive to be less than, but they also make it harder on themselves because they still got that black face to walk around with. They make it harder on other black people that they purport to love, to care about. You know, they may not care about nobody but them they damn self. They make it hard on themselves.
Yeah.
You got the black man, you got black men online every day talking about, soon as they see a black chick do something negative, here they go. These queens you talking about, spelling it with a K. These queens y'all talking about, these the queens. You got black women. Soon as they see a black man say, see, that won't mess with these dusties. Get your passport. I can't wait for y'all to leave. But these same black men got black daughters, black mamas, black sisters that they purport to love. The same black women got black sons, black fathers, black brothers that they purport to love. Some got black friends that they purport to love, but they talk down. They spend every waking moment talking down on the black man. How you going? You ain't even qualified to raise a black boy if you hate that which he is to become. You're not qualified to raise a black girl if you hate that which she is to become. You're making it harder on her life when she go out there into the world. But they think they're smart. And the people who follow them think they're smart. But all of them are a bunch of dumb bastards who need to die immediately. That's right.
Not immediately.
They got to die. They got to die because they ain't no better. They ain't no better than the actual killer that's out there that's actually squeezing the trigger. See, psychological warfare is far more harmful than actual warfare.
Yeah.
Psychological warfare has been raised on us for centuries, waged against us for centuries. Psychological warfare is so effective that if applied correctly, you can turn your enemy, you can make your enemy turn on themselves.
Yeah.
That's how effective psychological warfare is. You can make your enemy believe that you're their friends. You can make your enemy wait on you to pick their friends. How asinine is it to have your enemy, your sworn, your known, your open enemy pick your friends for you? You got black people out here who will take the cue of mainstream America, particular white people who don't really like black people, but they say, we don't like Farrakhan, so they say, I don't like Farrakhan.
Right.
They take their cue. Whatever white folks tell them to do, that's what they do. Whatever the white folks say, they don't even believe stuff until white folks say it. You can have 100 black people, they can be scholars, they can have degrees, they can be walking around in their gown every day. Just they can walk around in their graduating gown every day, just with the hat on and everything, and just I say to you, and put it out there like that all day, every day, and you will have black people like, that nigga don't know what he's talking about, man. Show me the degree. Let me see the degree. When the white person come up, a white person can look like a junkyard dog and say the same thing, and they immediately like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there, man. You know, like he showed right, you showed right. Yeah, that's how effective psychological warfare is.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that, like, you know, not getting off that subject, but even just bringing it back to hip hop?
Hold on. Can you hold that thought? Remember, lock it in, because I want to say this real quick.
Okay.
Remember that thought you was about to say. Lock it in. It's important to answer your question, I really said a lot of things, but I still didn't answer your question. You said, how can we get there? How can we overcome that type of mentality? Each one, reach one, teach one. It starts with yourself. Fuck what everybody else is doing. Start with yourself. Start with who you decide to procreate with, right? Okay? If you don't like the people in the world, create some better people in the world. Create some better people. Or how about this? Don't bring any more bad people into the world. So you can be your own mad scientist. You don't like the people, you don't like the way you was raised, you don't like the way that your daddy treated you. Bring some kids in the world and treat them better. Show us an example of a dad. Or show us how it's supposed to be done. Yeah. That's what you do. Show us how it's supposed to be done. You know, you don't like the fact that you grew up without and you didn't have opportunities. Make sure that you procreate with a woman of valor, a woman with some standards of valor, a woman with some principles. Get that woman, and it's important to get that woman, not just for your own personal benefit, but so that in case you're out of the picture for any reason, let's say y'all break up, let's say you end up in jail, let's say you end up dead, because everybody gonna die one day. It's important that the children are around someone who is going to give them the right information and instructions. So that's why you take your time and make sure you pick a good one. Because in case you're not around, even if you're in the relationship with them, when you're not around, let's say you go out on a trip for the weekend, you know that they're in good hands. Right. Let's say you go on to work, she with them at the house, or are you in one room in the house and they're in the other room? You can trust that whatever is coming out of her mouth is going to feed into your children. It's going to sow into your children something positive and something good that can help them become productive, good people. You know what I'm saying? So it starts with yourself. Look, I know it's overwhelming. It can feel overwhelming at times. It's a tall task. We have to get used to planting seeds and growing trees that we may never eat the fruit from. We got to get used to that type of mentality. We got to get used to having life insurance. If you don't like struggling, you didn't like struggling. Let's say you struggled all your life. You ain't never came into a windfall. You can break the cycle by just getting life insurance and making sure you don't pass that down to your children. Make sure you don't pass that down to your grandchildren. Have some pride. Break the cycle. Make sure your grandchildren don't end up in the ghetto. Break the cycle. Get that life insurance. But now we got so many people that are so concerned about, man, I ain't finna get no life insurance. You're gonna be laying up with some nigga feeding you, spending my money. You dumb, selfish bastard. If you don't trust her, why you with her? If you don't trust her, get from around her right now. Don't wait till you die. You got to die to get out of it. No, it's a choice. You know, so it's so many ways that we can do things and better our situations by just simply starting with self and then surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals and then try to pull in as many people as we can and understand that everybody ain't gonna make it, and when they don't make it, don't get frustrated. Now, do you remember what you was about to say?
I do.
Okay, come on.
No, and I'm glad that you did go back and that you said that, because that's really important. Like, it's really just that simple with starting with ourselves, you know, and then building it upon the family, and the family builds on the community. So I'm glad that you did take the time to like break it down that way, because, you know, for me, I always feel like we always are looking for a hero instead of just being the hero for ourselves.
Yes.
That like literally the only way that we can get out of this is by breaking cycles. So thank you for going back and just really breaking that down, because I think it's important, you know, it's important. And I think that sometimes a lot of people, will hear you talking and they're not really listening to what you're saying. Like even with your first album, like once I finally got a chance to listen to it without feeling like my brother was going to hit me over the head for listening, it was like I realized a lot of your like, well, okay. Did you consider yourself to be like someone that used satire in your rapping? Because like I don't, didn't know you like up close and personal, but nothing that I've seen of you reminds me of what you kind of say in the raps a lot of times. But it seemed like you were taking a lot of the situations that you saw and kind of making a joke about it, but you were like still dealing with it in your own way. Like you've always just been that person that speaks on what you see. Like that's what I see you doing now. And it seemed like that's what you were doing before, right? So for me, I just feel like you've always kind of taken a lot of tough topics and just spoke your mind on it. And a lot of people might have felt some type of way about it, but somebody got to say it, right? So what I was going to say is in the music industry, right? So many people always talk about, early 90s, mid 90s, there's this change. There's this change from conscious rap to gangster rap. I've had people who have said to me personally, like, well, your brother and them are responsible for, the gangster rap being what it is and the violence and all this, that, and the third. I heard stories being told. I know that none of y'all have actually killed anybody that I know of. I know my brother did. So I just looked at it as stories. I know that some of those stories also came with a consequence of, if you do this, this could happen or whatever the case might be, right? So I feel like whenever I listen to certain things, like I'm not hearing what other people heard. I didn't hear y'all ever say like, oh, y'all should do this. I thought that y'all were telling stories that, were real stories from where you were. I've never been to Houston, but, I got like a little eye view of what it was like from, like you doing the song Shouting Out the Fifth Ward, like understanding what that was. Or when, I'm listening to NWA, I've been to LA, so I could identify a little bit with what they were saying. But if I never had been, there were certain people in certain areas that allowed me to see the bigger picture. But do you feel like when you talked about the psychological warfare, that even now, like, you see it kind of prevalent in the hip hop community where you have, the older against the younger and then the older against the older, because, you're seeing so many different people that have been having an issue with us going into the 50th year of hip hop. Well, I wasn't recognized or this person should have been recognized or whatever the case might be. And a lot of people are not being recognized that really should, like you guys. Like, I've asked different people from Houston, like, what is Houston doing to celebrate themselves? And it's like, oh, we ain't doing nothing. And it's like, why? So do you feel like even now with as much stories and interviews that people have done and shared the things that they've gone through with the music industry, that we're still seeing the industry, if you will, kind of using that psychological warfare to pit y'all against even each other? Because I feel like there's a generation that you guys come from that have some knowledge that the younger generation could really benefit from. And it's not ever going to happen as long as it's almost like, oh, well, these guys are washed up. So, what am I going to learn from you? Or these guys, they ain't really rapping. So why would I even want to talk to them? What they doing ain't what we was doing. You know what I mean? So do you see that, like being in the industry, that there's even psychological warfare going on right now in the music industry?
It's always going to be like psychological warfare in every industry. And you got to understand, the more money involved, the more psychological warfare is going to be involved. Like the more that's at stake. There's a lot at stake in hip hop, primarily primarily minds, the minds of the youth. That's what's at stake even more than money. The minds of the youth. So let's talk about the music. See, you have to understand that you know the old saying, people hear what they want to hear. A lot of people suffer from cognitive dissonance. They only hear what they want to hear, and they take that and they run with it. They just go, they hear it, and they can hear a person saying a lot of things, a lot of messed up things. Say one thing that they agree with, and they say, "Yeah, I agree with him. He right, man. He sure right. He sure right," because that's all they was waiting on to hear that. In Mind Playing Tricks, I said, I make big money. I drive big cars. Everybody know me. It's like I'm a movie star. But late at night, something ain't right. So I heard dudes say, "Man, y'all got me put in jail with that song, man." How? The song was an anti-violence street drug song. How you went to jail? You went to jail because your ass wanted to do what you wanted to do. That's why you went to jail. You heard that little piece that you wanted to hear. I make big money. I drive big cars. That's all you needed to hear. You forgot the whole but. Late at night, something ain't right. I'm trying to warn your dumb ass that the game ain't what you think it is. I'm letting through my experience, I'm paranoid. I can write a song like that and it be relatable and touch people the way it did because I actually lived that piece. I was paranoid. I got one hand on the dope. When I hear a knock, I got one hand on the trigger, one hand on the dope, about to flush it down the toilet. I don't know who coming on that door. I don't know who come knocking on that door. I walk outside of the building. I hear footsteps coming my way. It's a 5-year-old kid. I'm about to blow his head off. I don't want that on my conscience. I don't want that on my record. You don't get no points for killing kids. I don't want that on my record. So I'm like, yo, this ain't it for me, man. Y'all can have this shit. Plus, the retirement plan sucks. Everybody that I know going to jail, losing their family, losing that girl that they was trying to hustle for, to their best friends or their rivalries, or their rivals. They're losing to their rivals. They're getting killed. They're getting maimed. They getting done up. Like, this ain't it for me. This ain't it. So when making the music, we always try to use cautionary tales. All of it was cautionary tales. Look, even when I made Bald Head Hoes, I was trying to help the women. I swear to God, I thought I was helping. I really did. I thought I was helping women to embrace their natural self. Like, be yourself. You don't need this weave. You don't need to do this. Just grow your own hair, sister. I love you like you is. I love you as you are. Because we always talk about love me as I am. But then you go put the weave on, and then you say that ain't who you really are, though. You know what I'm saying? I want to love the natural you, the pure you. That's what I want. So I'm trying to make this song, and I'm thinking I'm gonna talk about these women so bad that they're gonna be embarrassed to wear weave. And it's like when I did that song, it was pouring gasoline on the fire. It was like, I'm like, fuck you, Willie D. You gonna wear what we want, do what we want, and you still don't like it, And
so you should have actually brought some stock.
Look,
before you dropped the song into wigs. That's what you're saying,
huh?
You should have brought some stock into weaves and wigs before you dropped.
Boy, I would have been on. It would have been on. It would have been on. But I remember taking Bald Head Hoes out of my playlist for our performances, Geto Boy performances, and we were backstage getting ready to go we were behind the venue in the alley, getting ready to walk in, and this girl walked up. These two black chicks walk up, and one chick say, "Where Willie D? Where Willie D?" And I happened to be right there at the door, and I slid the door open to the van, a 15-passenger van. I slid the door open, and I said, "What's up?" She said, "I know you're gonna sing Bald Head Hoes," and she took off her wig. And I turned the damo. I said, "Put that back on," because the thing about it, it'd be more women singing the song at the show than men. And I was like, "Damn, how did that happen?" And then one day, I'm going through my fan mail, and I read this letter from this girl who says that she was pregnant, and her boyfriend left her while she was pregnant, and she had this baby all by herself, and she was lonely and suicidal. And she listened to Bald Head Hoes every day, and it made her laugh. And because it made her laugh, it gave her a purpose to live. She wanted to live because she actually lived to listen to that song. It gave her hope. I'm like, damn. I'm thinking I'm doing something with these other songs. Like I'm purposely going in. I'm gonna make this song called Free. You know, I'm gonna make the world is ghetto. It's gonna be motivation. It's gonna be inspirational. You know, I tried. I'm gonna do this song. I'm gonna do this song called Ghetto Fantasy. But it wasn't that. It was that song that this woman said saved her life. You know, so when you make these songs ain't even ours anymore. They belong to the fans. That's why no matter what I've written, anything that I've written in the past, even if I feel like I've outgrown the song, if the fans want to hear it in concert, I'm gonna sing it because they paid their money to hear it. Anybody else that got a problem with it don't really count because they're not fans of the music. They're not paying to see me in concert. You see what I'm saying? If they're not paying to see me at that show, then I'm not concerned about what they think about what I'm performing at that show. But now, as far as like where I'm at right now with my growth and development, I wouldn't make certain songs today that I did back then. And if I did make those songs, I would make it with a better understanding of how the song is going to be perceived. You see?
Gotcha.
Back then, I was like, you don't like it, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, hold on, let me make sure I get it right and take the wiggle room out. And if they still don't like it, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? But I got to make sure that I'm not being, if I'm going to do this, I got to make sure that I do it right because too much is given, much is required.
Right.
And this is why I do give these artists today grace when they step out of bounds and they say just ridiculous stuff. Because those artists today, the stuff that they're saying today is not going to be the stuff they say tomorrow. They're going to grow up also. And they're going to have different friend groups, different things are going to interest them. And I promise you, some of the people that are living as reckless as they are today, if they live through it, they're going to be totally different 5, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. They're going to be totally different people. So that's why I give the youngsters grace. But as far as us being recognized and how, you know, people look at GB or whatever, look, our legacy is secured. No matter what they try to say, no matter what they try to do, you know, our legacy is secured. See, it's secured in the music. So they can say what they want to say, but one day somebody gonna say, man, I don't give a damn what y'all say. Somebody they gonna just say, Geto Boys for life, and it's gonna be for real. Because the music speaks for itself. You can talk about all these other groups all you want to, and there's been some great hip hop groups, but I'll put our catalog up against anybody's catalog. Like we got a catalog. We ain't got just 1 or 2 albums. We ain't got just 1 or 2 jamming albums. We got every single album jammed song after song after song after song, back to back to back to back to back to back. You can put a GB album on and just let it ride. See? And your brother, DJ Ready Red, Collins Lassat, gave us that sound. Collins Lassat gave us that sound. let me tell you something. Ready Red was passionate. I remember when we was making Gangsta Love. And the song was kind of jamming already before he put that it's a sample in there with from Ice Cube from the NWA song. It's a sample in Gangsta Love. It's come in, love. Damn, what's that sample? It's anyway. The song was already jamming, and I was like, Red was working on the song. He messing around doing some other stuff, and I was like, man, leave the song alone, man, leave it alone. And Red just, hold on, gangster. Red used to call me gangster. It's still short for Gangsta Love, right? So Red would say, hold on, gangster. And Jay was like, Will, let him do it, man. And if we don't like it, we can always take it back out. Jay was sensible. But me, I'm like, time. I'm like, man, it's time, man. You wasting time, man. We got to, I like to hit it and go to the next thing. Like hit it, boom, 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 bam, boom, 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 bam. Red get in there, and Red wasn't slow. He made beats, and he was fast with the beats. But once I hear what I like, and it's jamming, I'll be like, yeah, leave it alone. I'll be thinking something gonna mess up. Like, leave it alone. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. And Red would just, put that little red touch on it. And Red was like a beast when it came to the samples. Red was the first one that I know in hip hop or in music period to sample Scarface.
Yes.
He was the first one to do that. And over the years, I heard a lot of people jack Ready Red's samples. A lot of people actually jack Ready Red's music, jacking stuff. I heard a lot of them throughout the years jacking stuff. So Red really don't get the recognition that he deserved. And that's why every chance I get, I'm a big up old Red, man, because Red was passionate about that music. And at one point, he pretty much was doing it all by himself. Now, there was a few people that got some credit for the music, some of the stuff, but Red was the foundation. You know what I'm saying? He laid the foundation.
Yeah. I was listening yesterday, and Homie Don't Play That. That reminded me, and I don't know if that was kind of like where y'all. Yeah, but it almost reminded me, and I know that like I'm not sure like timing wise, but I know back then a lot of times when many people, whenever they was recording an album, usually it didn't come out for a year after and all that stuff. So I'm not sure what the timing was, but it reminded me a lot of like kind of like the idea that they use for jacking for beats. Like I was like, oh, I never heard this before. I like this.
Yeah. Red, he was going for it like that. We would put out when we finished, we really, out of all the years we made music, there might be 6 or 7 unreleased Geto Boy songs. Because when we go in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's going on the album. We don't miss. We don't miss. Like, all them songs going on the album. Whatever songs we worked on, all 16 going on the album. All 14 going on the album. That's how much precision we had when we hit that studio. So me and Brad would do the writing. In the early days, Jay contributed to some of the concepts, like as far as like titles of songs. He contributed, he had a heavy hand in the early days, the first, couple of albums or so. But after that, it was Brad and me, but we did the heavy haul, the heavy lifting on the writing. Somebody else on the outside, might come in and write a verse or two for Bill or something like that. But for the most part, it was me and Brad doing the writing. But also Ready Red would conceptualize some things because sometimes he would do a sample and the sample would be the song. He'll make the beat and the hook is in the beat. When he make the beat, the way what he sampled, like talking loud, saying nothing. It was right there. Like he came with that idea. You know what I'm saying? So he had the idea, put the Talking Loud Saying Nothing. Okay, let's do a song called Talking Loud Saying Nothing.
I know. I wanted to ask you. Okay, who is on Do It Like a Geo? Who is White on Records or whatever it was?
Yeah, that's just a fictional company.
Mm-hmm. Who is that?
Fictional company that Ready Red came up with. That's Ready Red talking. That's Ready Red.
Yeah, I've been able to catch him on a lot of the different like skits, but that one I was like, is that him? I couldn't
That's
really
Red,
tell.
and that's
Yeah.
also Red on the first album where he said on We Can't Be Stopped. That's Red talking about the musical enforcer, saying Ready Red, gangster of love. Red could be animated, but he was dope. He was a huge kung fu fan. He loved kung fu gangster movies.
Yeah.
Kung fu gangster movies and cartoons.
I actually just went the week of the 18th. I think it was either the 18th or 19th. Was the 50th anniversary of Enter the Dragon. So they had re-released it in theaters. So I went to go see it that Wednesday when they had put it out. Just in, because I used to have to go, I used to have to pay to go in his room to watch, that and Star Wars and all that and look at his posters and everything. So, right. But yeah, he used to always call and I would get about 4 or 5 different impersonators or whatever before the phone call ended. He was had a lot of people might not know, but he did Michael Jackson really, really good. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How he could do Michael Jackson.
I believe that.
Yeah. But all right, well, I wanted to, before we get off of here, of course this show is about hip hop, but it's also about health. And I absolutely wanted to have the opportunity to talk to you about something that you're kind of, doing and make sure that people really hear about it because it's really something needed. Like, we saw, of course, during COVID, a lot of times most of us couldn't get out to the doctor, and a lot of us, even now, post-COVID, can't get to the doctor because of either not having, health insurance or whatever the case might be. So can you talk to them a little bit about what you got, your hands in right now?
Yeah. So we have a telemed. I'm an investor in a telemed company, and so what we do is we primarily focus on underserved communities, making healthcare more accessible to people in underserved communities. But it's also for everybody. Mm-hmm. But our focus is underserved communities, and we also have this thing that we call peak enhancement. It's a male enhancement. It's a male enhancement. I hate to say drug because it's not really like a drug.
Supplement. It's
like a supplement, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something that I thought was cool to get involved with because, even though I'm cold-blooded, when I walk in that room, I'm cold-blooded, right? I'm cold with it, right? but it's like I like having an advantage. Like if I don't care what I do, I want the advantage. I want to win. So I thought, for me, when I first started thinking about using it, I was like, that's cool. It was strictly for vanity purposes. But once I learned about, testosterone injections, when I really started learning about it, I learned the benefits, how it can benefit, how it can, help with muscle mass. Mm-hmm. It helps with muscle mass. It helps with your diet. It helps with even just overall quality of life. It's not just a male enhancement for you to get your, make sure you knock her back out and all that type of stuff. It's
It has other benefits.
it has other health benefits, and so but it also helps with preserve bone density, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so it has a lot of other benefits, and which you're gonna need, which you need especially as you get older, So, and we also have something for weight loss.
Okay.
So yeah, so getting into those type of things, like the furthest thing from my mind growing up, the furthest thing from my parents' mind growing up, we wasn't like health conscious like that. So that's what I kind of do. Like I get a lot of opportunities, but I like doing stuff. If I'm gonna do it, I like doing stuff that I'm really passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's important because when you are passionate about it, it shows. It's easier to talk about. It's easier to to promote and so I definitely would like to get more information. As a nurse.
Go to peakenhancement.com. PEAK, the letter N, enhancement.
Okay.
Peakenhancement.com. Go check it out.
We'll look
enhancement.com.
Now I was
No
actually
pun intended.
telehealth thing, but you go ahead and do your thing.
What's that?
I said, now I was actually asking about the telehealth thing, but you go ahead, let the fellas know.
Yeah, I give you some information on it. I give you some info on it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely would love to help, just support and make sure that people know, about it because it's important. We even see now COVID numbers are going up again and we have to do what we can to make sure that we're staying healthy.
I'm gonna see if I I'm gonna put in here in the chat.
Okay.
Be well. Telemed Solutions. That's the company. That's the main company.
Be Well
Solutions. Yeah. And then the website, .com. Yeah. There it is.
Okay. So
yeah.
I will get that and I'll make sure that I put it in.
So it's online. So basically you can go when you go to Be Well Telemed, you can find your pharmacy. You got your doctors, you can find your pharmacies, and you can find your labs. We can get you there, whatever you're looking for, we can get you there. Serve all your medical needs. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, let me stick around long enough, man. I might just come up with the cure for cancer. Like once I get in, man, I be committed, man. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, do your thing.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't know if you realize that, what I like to do is I like to name each episode after, a hip hop song. So, I felt that it was only fitting to call this We Can't Be Stopped. I hope that, you continue to prosper and do well. You look good, look like you're taking care of yourself. And so, want to keep you around so you can help others to, to stay around and do well. And I really appreciate you joining me tonight and sharing with the people. I want to thank everybody in the comments and, for joining us. And I know that, a lot of people was just really appreciative that, you got on and, and that they was able to hear you speak. And, and I, again, as just a little sister, I appreciate you, Will, for, the conversations and also, the fact that, I've even just enjoyed lately seeing some of your interviews. You seem like lighter, you seem happy. You just, I like that, people are able to see you just be you, and I hope that continues.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're doing with your platform. To tell you the truth, it's kind of surreal seeing Ready Red's sister doing a podcast on hip hop. You know, like it's beautiful to see it because it's like when I look at you, I see red. You know, so it's like a little nostalgia attached there. You know, because I knew how Red, even though Red was so far away from home, Red was really, really, really. If Red liked you, if Red loved you, if you were somebody that he cared about, he'd let you know. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody tried to hurt you, harm you in any kind of way, Red, he'll stick his chest out. You know. So yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. And much continued success.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate it. All right. So what you got? Anything coming up? You want to let the people know what you got going on or whatever? Anything?
Yeah. So basically what I like to do is just like to put it in their face. I don't really like to let them know what's coming. I like to make it happen first and then just spring it on them, so. Whatever I got going on, I can speak on what I got going on right now. You can follow me at Willie D Live, on YouTube, on Instagram, I don't really be on Twitter anymore since Elon Musk got on there, but
you mean
yeah, I'm still gonna call it Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it Twitter as a form of disrespect.
You know how we do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be defiant to the end. I'm gonna be defiant. So
it don't even sound right. Especially if you talk about Black Twitter, Black X don't sound right. Like Black Twitter, right. The whole thing. You can't change the name.
I think you're gonna end up changing it back because I don't think it's gonna catch on. I don't think just saying X gonna catch on because when I think of X, I still think of Malcolm X. So if I think of X, I'm gonna either think of Malcolm X or my ex-woman.
Oh my God. Well, again, I'm really grateful that you got on here and I'm appreciative and I definitely, am honored that I get to be able to speak to, legends like yourself and just, soak up the history and just be able to, listen to some of the stories that you guys have. I love hip hop, of course, my brother might have started a little seed, but, I'm definitely, a hip hop head, on my own accord. Okay.
Right.
So,
I see.
I'm my goal is just to make sure that people who need a platform, have one. And also, I hope that no one else has to be in my position, that they don't have to get that phone call, about their brother passing, because the thing that has bothered me and caused me to want to do this was way too many guys in your age range are passing away, and that shouldn't be happening, so. Yeah. That's why I'm going to continue to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, Will. And I, definitely enjoyed our conversation. And I think everybody definitely enjoyed. And, to those that will catch the replay, we appreciate it, but you definitely missed out.
Yeah.
And, thank you, everybody that was in the comments and, and that jump, got on this Thursday evening. We appreciate it. And I'll definitely have to be checking you out to see what you got going on besides the mill announcement stuff. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody, catch us every Thursday night. We'll be here doing a live. If you listen to audio, you can catch us on Saturday on Spotify and Apple Music. And, we just going to keep going, okay? So I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning into Beats Per Minute podcast, and be safe.
Hello, little sister. How are you? Very proud of you and your accomplishments. Take care.